If you had the opportunity to go back in time to prevent a world devastating disaster, would you do it? How goes it, folks? Jolly Yellow talking to you. I'm here to share something with you that you may have otherwise not seen. Today I present to you Captain Nova. Captain Nova starts off in the future in the year 2050, and the world is being covered by clouds of gases that have leaked from a mining operation. Captain Nova, the titular character, is a fighter pilot who has been selected to go back in time to prevent the mining disaster that led to the release of the deadly gases that cover the atmosphere, and in 2050 even lead people to the point where they cannot go outside unless they're wearing protective gear. Setting off on her mission to set things right, Captain Nova goes back to the year 2025 in order to prevent the mining disaster that releases the clouds of gases across the world. However, when she goes back to 2025, she is no longer her 37-year-old adult self. She actually reverts back to her 12-year-old child self, and then in that form, she has to stop the typical large mega corporation from beginning the very mining operation that causes the disastrous clouds to leak from the earth and go into the atmosphere and basically choke off most of humanity. Now, the very crux of this film is the very fact that Captain Nova, when she traveled back in time, she didn't maintain her 37-year-old adult self. She actually reverted back to her 12-year-old child self. And that is kind of a spin or a twist or a variation on the time travel story that I personally have not seen very often. So, it pays to watch different movies and get those different perspectives. But as far as the film itself, it's very cut and dry, not very much room for a lot of different subplots, a lot of different stories. Even the cast is not that overly large, and even the runtime of this movie, barely an hour and a half, so this is something you can sit down and easily knock out in a single afternoon. But because of her reversion back to her 12-year-old self, Nova just runs into several roadblocks, in which, well, not even several roadblocks, but the same one several times. How does a 12-year-old explain to a massive corporation that the drilling operation that they're about to embark on is not just going to go badly, but will actually devastate the world and cause a massive disaster? For a little bit of a spin or a twist there, I do appreciate that one of the figures that she's talking to in this mega corporation is actually in 2050, and that gets revealed later on in the movie. And even a friend that she makes while in 2025 is present in 2050 for, and a little something there. I won't spoil that and go into too much about it. This movie is short, sweet, to the point. Like I said, barely an hour and a half long. You can easily sit down and knock it out. However, here comes the wrinkle in the plan. This movie was originally available on Netflix from about 2022 up until about the end of March this year. In fact, I happened to watch it only because I was flipping through Netflix at random and saw it come up and it said that it was leaving soon. I watched it on March 30th and it left Netflix on March 31st. So as of right now, I'm not even sure if or where you can even find the movie. It's a Dutch produced movie, so they may pop up on some other streaming service. It may come back to Netflix one day possibly. But yeah, so Captain Nova, I would absolutely say watch it if you want a simple, clean-cut science fiction story. It's not very convoluted. There's not a whole bunch of moving parts. The cast gets in, they do what they need to do, and then they head off into the sunset. I would actually recommend you give this one a try. And also, assuming you're American, most of my audience is probably American, don't be scared to watch sci-fi movies from other countries and other cultures. You might see something you've never seen before. You folks have a good one. Jolly Yellow out.